People are out here spending $100,000 on brand new trucks. But what if they didn't have to? A few years ago, I decided to buy this Ford F-350 from 1997. Now, it's a little rough around the edges. You can't really tell from this angle, but if you look closely, you might just see the giant hole in my cab. And the other side is not much better. So the question is, can I actually make this thing roadworthy? Or did I just waste an entire year of my life? So let's start with the main problem. This panel is literally holding the cab off of the frame, and I'm not sure how it hasn't failed yet. So since both of the cab supports are basically dust, there's really only one option. I need to lift this entire cab up so I can replace both of those supports. But before I can do that, I need to get some of this stuff out of here. Weight reduction is gonna be critical. Removing the cab shouldn't be too difficult in theory. That's fucking soaked. It just needs to be completely stripped down to make it nice and light. My plan is to lift the cab into the air and slide a couple of 4x4s underneath. From there, I should have plenty of room to rebuild both of the supports. For this, the front clip will also have to come off, meaning the fenders, hood, and all that other good stuff will have to go. Lifting it by hand is not the best idea, so I went out and bought an engine hoist. The only problem is it's not exactly designed to lift a cab, but I can fix that with exactly $12 worth of lumber. This might just work. If my research is correct, the bare cab should weigh somewhere around 400 pounds. This hoist is rated for way more than that. Nice. After fully closing the relief valve, I was able to get the cab into the air. And that's when things got way worse. What I found underneath can only be described as severe rot. Just a sneak peek. Look at how far they're dented in. That's crazy. How does it even get this bad? At this point, there's really only one option. Cutting the floor out gives me two things: space to work and full access to all of the rust that's hiding in there. However, I can't remove the floor and cab mount yet. I still have to deal with some of the welds first, specifically spot welds. Spot welds are created when two pieces of metal have been melted together. It leaves behind a tiny fused circle. They're incredibly strong and incredibly annoying. There just so happens to be a million of them on this panel. Since I'm not replacing the entire floor, I need to keep the top layer intact. Drilling them out does leave a bunch of holes, which is future me's problem. That was not going to hold for much longer. I already have the new patch here ready to go, but the rust completely destroyed what I'm going to call a blocking plate, and that's going to be an issue. There's a bunch of this sound deadening foam inside, which has been causing the rust. Removing it is easy. However, finding a patch panel for the rocker, not so much. No company makes a blocking plate for this cab. So now, I either have to fabricate one myself, or ignore it. It's been fine like this for years, and I don't think it's that important. But I'm not comfortable with leaving this open long term, so I may as well give it a shot. I've never had to make a custom patch panel before, and not knowing the exact shape of the panel doesn't help. As long as I'm somewhat close, this should work. But I won't actually know until I put the floor in first. Adding this in first will show me exactly how much to trim from the blocking plate. The original floor section that I cut wasn't all bad. However, making a bunch of tiny patches is a complete waste of time. So I went out and bought one huge patch instead. That's definitely not my best work, but it'll hold. And this patch isn't perfect either. But the other one was trapping water. With the foam gone, this one shouldn't. At least that's the idea. At this point, I want to start working on the other side. The same process had to be repeated, except this time, the inner rocker and sill were heavily affected by the rust, meaning I get to make more panels. With both sides cleaned up, it was finally time for the new supports. But that's when I noticed something. Look at the difference in the thickness. There's no way I could weld this without blowing straight through the floor. I am not a good enough welder. But I think I have another idea. I'm going to use bolts. Grade 8 bolts are more than strong enough to hold the cab supports on. It's not the factory method, but it solves the problem. As for rust protection, I packed both of the mounting points with wheel bearing grease. That way, if water ever gets in again, it's going to have a harder time starting this whole process over. Not too bad. So that solves the rust problem on the cab, but not what it attaches to. These frame mounts have seen better days. Even with the cab all fixed, these can still fail, which would ruin all the work that I just did. So for $200, I bought some new ones. The originals are held in with these giant rivets, and they suck to remove. To keep it simple, I'll be using bolts here too. And while the cab's still up, I figured some new bushings couldn't hurt either. Alright, so that's the frame, cab, and bushings all taken care of. There was a point that I was going to sell this thing. I wasn't sure that I could handle all of this rust. But here we are, almost rust free. There's still some surface rust on the bottom of the cab, which can turn into rot within a few years. And I really don't want to ever lift this cab again. So let's do some rust proofing. Normal paint won't work for this, so I'll be using a special rust encapsulator instead. It covers the rust and stops it from spreading, which is exactly what I need. Maybe using a red solo cup wasn't the best idea. Anyway, the old rusty surface is now completely protected. I also used a similar product to coat the inside of the rocker. At this point, I could lower the cab back down. However, while I have the back of the engine exposed, I do want to make some changes while I have the opportunity. The stock up pipes on these engines are notorious for leaking, and that leads to a noticeable lack of power. This thing's already slow, so I need as much power as I can get. Most of the time, the leak is due to this donut gasket. When the cab is down on the frame, you have to lift up on the trans just to remove these pipes. It's a whole process, which is exactly why I'm replacing them now. These bellowed up pipes are a huge upgrade compared to the stock ones. They expand and compress as they're heated and cooled. which is the main reason I spent a little more money to buy them. This design is way less likely to leak over time, which I'm going to prove with the smoke machine. I think that's better. There's no more smoke up here, but there is some coming from the exhaust. I've had my suspicions about an exhaust leak for a while. Since I've owned this truck, I've never been able to drive with the windows up, because the exhaust fumes were so strong in the cab, and I always thought it had to do with the up pipes, but now I know why. Whoever welded this exhaust previously didn't care much if it was sealed. They just wanted it to stay together. I, on the other hand, don't want to suffocate. That's pretty much everything underneath taken care of. This cab was on the brink of being replaced. Now, I have solid supports underneath my feet. On paper, that means they should last another 30 years, but we'll have to see about that. Before I can drop it down, there's one thing I already know is going to be an issue. When I accidentally dropped the cab before, it shifted off of the mounts, pushing everything back. So now I have to move it forward, while it's sitting on the 4x4s. Over time, the cab dug into the wood, making this way harder. But after a while, I think I have it lined up. I guess there's only one way to find out. Lifting the cab in the air is always stressful, but with the help of 2 floor jacks, I was able to lower each side one at a time, and eventually, I was able to get the cab back onto the frame. Thankfully, all of the cab bolts went back in, but none of this actually matters if I don't fix the real problem. This whole mess started because rainwater was getting trapped in the cab. The cowl on these trucks basically acts as a gutter. Water runs off the windshield into that cowl, and it's supposed to drain out to the sides, but that's not possible when there's a huge rat's nest blocking it. On top of that, the seam sealer is also failing, allowing water to sit in the cab's pinch weld. So instead of resealing it the factory way, I'm going to take it one step further by adding butyl tape. It's waterproof, relatively cheap, and it lasts longer than standard seam sealer. I started by encapsulating the area with the same stuff I used on the bottom of the cab. Then I ran a fresh bead of seam sealer down the pinch weld. Seam sealer can last long if it's properly protected. So once that cured, I laid down some of that butyl tape to cap it off. Overkill? Maybe. But this time, water should actually make it to the drains. And me from the future can confirm this. That means it's time to put it all back together. Installing everything wasn't too bad. Both of the doors went on easy, and I managed to get the hood on without scratching anything. Overall, it was going great until I got to the fenders. The new bushings must have raised the cab up an inch or two, which is a problem as the fenders have to slide into these pins, and it's not even close, so something has to be off. I found the bumper seems to be a little crooked on this side, which might be stopping the fender from going down. So it's closer, but not quite there. If it's not the bumper, it has to be something else up front, because the other side is giving me the same problem. Upon closer inspection, I think I found something else. These rad support bushings are installed the wrong way. The thick side is supposed to be on top, The sad part is, I installed these about a year ago. I have no clue how I messed that up, but it's an easy swap. With the bushings installed the correct way, I was able to get both of the fenders fully installed. It's slowly starting to look like a truck again. Now for the last few pieces. The panel gaps aren't perfect, but they'll do. I also threw the interior back in, so it's complete inside and out. But was all this work worth it? Let's find out. I've spent countless days working on this thing, in the summer heat and in the frost of winter. But now that it's moving again, I could say I'm happy with it. All of the work that I put in led to this moment. It's driving. Don't get me wrong, it still rides like a 2x4 on wheels. But that's what I love about it. It's not fancy or fast, it's just another old truck that's still kicking down the road. With that being said, I'd do this all again in a heartbeat. It was a ton of fun. So, I want to thank you guys for watching, and hopefully, I'll see you in the next one.